Hello everybody, Agashi here. Today we have Ajashi.
Hello.
And we are going to be reviewing the movie that just recently came out. It's called Crazy Rich
Asians.
Alright. Well, I obviously read the book.
I didn't, but it was written by the author Kevin Kwan. And
It's about Asian people.
not sure. I forget the guy's name who produced it and director of it. But he, just a little fun tip about it is he worked with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in a movie together in the past. So that's like a little fun fact, is him and Rock are like cool buddies. And so when he released this film, The Rock was a really big supporter of it. Plus, because Rock's half Asian, so
Hawaiian.
yeah, and so
Mr. Moana.
yeah, so he was in support of it, big time. But yeah, this movie is about it's a nice little spin and take on the Asian culture. When I'm
Asian and typical. It's not like Chinese, Singaporean,
Right.
Malaysian, Hmong,
Right.
Korean.
or
It's
Japanese,
Not, yeah,
it's just Asian period.
Asian period.
Oh,
like
I'm sorry. Hindus as well, because Punjabis as well. Y'all Asian too. I learned that from my boss.
a lot of Asian, but it's Asian in general.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a nice little romance. It's like a comedy romance story that revolves around two characters.
Nick Young and Rachel Chu.
Yeah, and so which Nick Young, he's the one that's from the rich family, the
And
crazy
Rich.
rich Asian family,
And
who
Rachel
is
isn't.
all about that Asian culture. They hold that to a high standard, and he's from Singapore, whereas Rachel is from America.
Born in
And
America,
so
New York.
she has the American mindset, and she does have some Asian ethics and standards to her, but she definitely does not
Have the traditional
live.
strict
Yeah,
Asian culture in her. She's like what they say, ABC, American born Chinese.
yeah. So
That's what she is.
um,
But like, yeah, this whole story, it starts off with, obviously, in the book, it starts off with like Rachel and Nick, they're dating, and then it's like, I think in the book they've been dating longer than what they stated in the movie. I think in the movie it said a date for like a year only, but in the book I think they dated for 2 years already.
guess me, I don't remember.
I don't remember, but yeah, he finally wants to take her to go visit his family, and so because he in the book she talks about it, how he visits her side of the family for like Christmas, holidays, and stuff like that. He gets to meet her side of the family, and they really love him, and he loves them too. So this time he's all like, let's take a trip and let's go visit my family. It's my grandma's birthday, and then no, it's not grandma's birthday.
Yeah.
Colin's wedding.
Yes, Colin's
It was
wedding.
Colin's wedding, and Nick was the best man. So they were going to go, and then so they went, and then like in the movie, it progresses really quick that she found out that Nick was rich after she met her friend like Pickling. She realized that like, oh, Lone Pickling, they all know like you're dating Nick Young. He's like the richest guy here in like Singapore. Everybody knows them. You're dating a Young. But in the book, it takes like a long time for them to realize that Nick was rich. And then she's all like, you didn't tell me you were rich. And he's all like, I'm not rich. I'm comfortable. And these all belongs to my parents. They don't belong to me. They're not mine. So.
Yeah, I think because you read the book and then you watched the movie, so you knew what was going to happen, what the character relations are, who does what. For me, I never read the book, and I went into there watching it blindly. And the two characters, those two main characters, the fun thing about seeing those two main characters was they had a really nice couple chemistry together. When they were together in their scenes, like it was like the epitome of what many people will classify like the Asian couple. The boyfriend the Asian boyfriend who adores his, girlfriend, and he adores her to the point where she's like his belonging.
His love of his life.
Not belonging, not in a bad way or a demanding way, but belonging as in like he's like, you're my everything, and but I genuinely like the movie. I like the movie. I like the meaning behind it.
Honestly,
it was really nice because us being Asians, we go through that. We see that.
Yeah, like honestly, yes. Everybody knows whenever it's like a book turned into a movie, the book is always more detailed. It's just like 50 Shades of Grey. The whole 3 books of it. The book was way more detailed, and it's like a better story in it. But same thing for Crazy Rich Asian. It's more detail and everything. But like, I really like it how this time they did it, where the movie, the wedding scene, was so good. Like, I cried. I had like a teardrop. It was like I felt it. Like that. It was like when she looked at Nick, and then he mouthed the word "I love you," and she cried. It's like, oh my god, he's so in love. Like they're so in love with each other. It was such a beautiful scene.
I think that is just that scene for me gave me chills because it was such a powerful scene overall, and the way it wasn't even their wedding, but then you felt like it was theirs.
Yes,
because it was just so. At that point she had gone through so much. She was just told off by the mom that she would never be good enough for Nick. So
told off by the mom, told off by the bachelor party, how they put the dead fish on her.
Right. So she had gone through a lot already at that point. And then her friend, Pickling, right? And then we're like, F that, buck biatch, and, let's show them what you got. And so, but even still, like, she won, like, you can see that she was like, okay, I'm gonna show you guys what I can do. But then when she looked at Nick, she still felt like, I'm gonna respect what you love and care about, and I can show them what I can do, but I'm not going to do that at the expense of your heart and your love, And so, that scene, that wedding scene was just amazing. The way they did it, the water, the singing, that song, the Elvis song that they sang. I think it was called this.
It was by that girl. Oh, she was with Wong Fu. I forgot her name.
No. The original song.
I know. It's the original song, but the girl that sang it, she was. I know her through Wong Fu production.
But
I forgot.
Wong Fu for life. But
anyways, getting back.
But them doing a cover version of it, and that was beautifully. It was beautifully sung. But it was a very powerful scene, and it made me go like, damn, like, when one day we do a wedding, we should just take that and whip it right up, redo that exact thing, because that's clever. That's some clever stuff. I don't know if she's willing to walk her wedding gown through water.
I don't think there's gonna be a walkway for me to walk.
That would be legit.
I'll be willing to, but I don't think there is going to be that. Okay, we're gonna be marrying like in front of.
You're gonna be dangling by strings. You're gonna fly like those Chinese empress ladies.
We will be talking about wedding planning in a different video, and goddamn, it's stressful.
Let's see. Since the movie's been out for over a month now, right?
It's gonna be August 13 or 16. Yes. Yeah, it's been around for a while.
Yeah, almost a month.
Mm-hmm.
We can't spoil it.
Also, we waited a while to review it.
Yeah, people have seen it enough already, so we're just gonna talk about everything we know about it.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people can relate to it. I can really, really relate to Rachel Chu's character, honestly.
Mm-hmm. We won't go into detail about that, but
yeah, but like it's not that like not being accepted to Rachel. It's like Rachel not getting accepted into the family. It was just really different for me because I grew up in a small family. My family is really tiny. When I say tiny, there's only 5 of us, total 5. And his family is like there's a total 8 siblings plus his parents. There's 10 of them. They're married. Most of them were married at that time when we first started dating. And he has nieces and nephews running all around the house. And they live in like this 2-story house. And I met them. And it's like huge. It was literally, would it be culture shock? I don't know what the word is.
You can say culture shock.
Yeah.
I would think I would equate it to that. Expectations differ between every family.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about an Asian family that is wealthy, not rich but wealthy, who are one of the wealthiest families in their area, in Singapore, the Young family, and you have their prized son dating a woman who is a nobody from America, a whole different country, a whole different class, right? A whole different wealth class and background. It is, in a way, it's a culture shock. But I think it's one of those things where the expectations are different. Not, I wouldn't say harder, because I'm not going to say that the expectations are harder. I would just say it's different.
Yeah.
But I think the girl, Rachel, she came to the understanding that instead of trying to win over everybody, you're not dating everybody, you're not marrying everybody, you're marrying an individual. And that's really like this American thought process, the individualist. And so she's like, I'm marrying Nick, I'm not marrying the family. And there's this thing about Asian families about you're marrying us, you're marrying the family.
No.
But it is an Asian thing, and
it's like
Rachel. It's a little hard for Rachel to take in, but even for the mom, because the mom kind of talks about in the movie that she wasn't good enough. She went
through a lot. She supported her husband, and in the Asian culture period, giving birth to a son as a first is like automatic win,
right?
But she wasn't. Even she said giving birth to like Nick wasn't enough, and she had to work really hard to be where she's at. And even in the movie, you saw that she was still not perfect, according to the grandma. The grandma loved Nick, truly loved Nick. She raised Nick up, but like the mom was still not enough in her eye.
Right, and what it shows is the mom fought extremely hard to be able to get herself, quote unquote, accepted by the family after having Nick. But what she forgot is that at one point in her life, she was just like Rachel, a passionate young woman who was trying to make her way through life, and she wanted to be something.
Yeah, she was going to school
on her own.
She wasn't going to school. Yeah. She was doing everything on her own. But when she met Nick's dad, she gave all that up and became a wife supporting her husband.
Right.
Yeah. She dropped off all her dreams and goals and chose to take care of a family, raise a family over her dreams and goals. So
right.
She took a different turn compared to Rachel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she took the more traditional turn.
Yeah.
The more traditional turn of how Asian women take in the Asian culture is you go and you live their culture, but it's not just by living their culture. That is those are your goals now in life, and you don't follow what your original goals are anymore. You go, you change it. You kind of change it to make it about their goals. But the for me, I think the best part for me was the mahjong part.
Oh yes, the mahjong part.
It's a very powerful part. The whole idea about Rachel explaining to the mom that, you know, Rachel and Nick, they love each other, they want to marry each other, but if the mom doesn't want her to marry him, then she's not going to make Nick choose between the mom or her. She doesn't want to do that to Nick.
And she chooses, because if Nick chooses Rachel, he'll be happy, but he loses his family.
Right.
He chooses his mom, he spends the rest of his life resenting her.
Right. But so she tells the mom, you know, that she's going to make the decision for them, and she's not going to marry Nick because at that point Nick had proposed to her. The mom didn't know that, so it was kind of like a shock to the mom that she turned down Nick. You know, because it's like, who's going to turn Nick down? You know, this guy, he's one of the most powerful men in Singapore in that story. So, but she explains to the mom that, you know, even if he doesn't marry me, you know, and he marries someone else, you'll always know
it was because of me.
That is because of me. That's why he still loves you. Because Nick kind of tells her in the movie before that he was willing to lose everything for her, and she told him no. So, the mom kind of realized that she needed to kind of just back off about that.
Honestly,
and she realized that she wasn't that and it wasn't just Rachel. It was with every girl that Nick was dating, that they weren't good enough, not because they weren't good enough for Nick, but they weren't good enough for the mom. And the mom felt like she wanted Nick to find somebody that was good enough, not for Nick, but for the mom. And that right there lies in the issue for the mom. You know, is that you know, she's marrying your son. She's not marrying you.
Well, yeah, it's like all time people like that. Like, they really think like that. And honestly, it's like it's not an American. It's an Asian thing. They think like that. Like, traditional old parents, they think like that, and they expect us to also think like that too. And so you do go through the whole getting all measured up. Are you good enough? Are you valuable enough for their son?
The importance of a friend in the movie. So in comparison to the book, like I remember you had said about the book that the friend's more like a backseat character.
Pickling, yeah.
Yeah, in the book. But in the movie, she's kind of like the passenger to Rachel Chu's story. Yeah.
Look, Colin and Nick's friendship was very similar to the book in the movie. They were like that. They were close, you know. They were like very close friends that grew up together. Yeah, and like Pickling in the book, you get her and Rachel talking together for some parts, but like they're not, like, Rachel barely spends time with her. Like, when they get to Singapore and Nick had to go do like groomsmen stuff, and Nick left, and Rachel went to spend like all day with Pickling, and they went, like, it's like a girl's day out, you know. And you get to see like little parts of Pickling in there only, and like towards the end, Pickling comes and help Rachel while, like, you know, the breakup that Rachel and Nick has, and she was there for Rachel for a while. But like in the movie, like, Pickling was like the person she went to, and then, like, you know, she had oh, when she ran away at the wedding, she went to picnic, you know. Her friend was always there for her.
Yeah, she played according to, like, based off, like, you know, what you had been telling me, she plays a much bigger role in the movie. They had to. Because they didn't, it'd just be too much of, like, it'd be too much craziness of ups and downs. And her friend's character was a comedic relief in the film to kind of made you as a viewer kind of like sit back and be able to laugh off some of the intense
it's not just
stuff that
it's
happens.
not just that. Like, her friend was rich too. Her friend was rich as well, but like she was not rich in the way of like how Nick's family and the people around Nick them are. She was rich in terms of like, I don't know how to say this. Not to be mean, but like, you know how like the people around like Nick and them, like those girls at the bachelorette party and everything, how like they blow off their money or wear like the best outfits and the best clothes. Like, oh yeah, I'm richer than you. I'm more richer than you. I just bought this. I just bought that. Pickling was rich, but you know, like how her aunties are like, oh, we remodel our house and everything. You know, come, call me auntie. You know, all stuff like that. But they didn't really like rub it off like that. They were more like a welcoming, typical Asian family. They were more like that. They're well off and they're rich and everything, but yeah, it's not rubbing off that, oh, look at how much money we have.
Right, and I think what the whole point behind that was they wanted to show this whole thing that
there's two different sides.
There's a class.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain class that ranks the families. Obviously, the young family is at the top. So everyone below them kind of in a way respects them, and some even fear them. But the young family being at the top, they're like the top dogs. And so what they kind of say goes in a way, and everyone doesn't try to mess with them. Then everybody else who's below kind of looks and says, well, I'm not at the top, so I shouldn't be doing certain things. And the epitome of that is that guy character.
Oliver?
Yeah, Oliver.
Botox, bitch.
He kind of said it the best way when Rachel first met him, that he's from a rich, wealthy family, but they're at the bottom. So he just does everything that everybody else that's on top of him asks him to do, because that gets him in like good favors with them. So you kind of get the whole idea that in that society of the wealthy people in the Singapore, in the story, even they have a class. And although you're like rich, because you're not as rich and powerful as the people above you, they will still delegate you like you're a low class person. And so you do whatever they ask. And then it kind of shows too at the end,
Mm-hmm.
at the party,
Yeah.
where Nick's mom tells Oliver to get that girl away from
the cousin or something like that.
Yeah. And he's like right on it, and so there's just that whole thing. And that's like kind of a Asian belief. This whole class level, this whole class rank, it's there. And I know some of you Asian people know about it. I mean, it's there. You just look and it's there. But it is like an American thing where to be able to say, no, I'm just not going to do it. Like, that's not my business.
I think it's because us generation nowadays, we grew up in America, so yes, we really, that's why we can really relate to Rachel and how she thinks
right.
of like, why can't I do things my way and my dreams and my goals? And so that's why like we can, us Asians growing up in America, we went to college, we're fighting, getting jobs and doing all these other things for ourselves, it's very different from my parents. Like, they really much they think like how rich, no, not rich, how Nick's family think, and you
Right.
know us a lot. Like we don't think like that.
Yeah, and in the movie, the mom kind of points it out. You know, she's like,
You Americans.
you Americans, you guys like to believe in your passion, your individualism, or whatever. Your
finding happiness for yourself.
You know, finding happiness for yourself. You don't understand what it's like, how we are over here, you know. And so it's the whole idea that a lot of cultures, and especially in the Asian culture, they do keep that like big, you know, duty and honor to your people,
Like it doesn't
you know,
hurt to
rather than
have
to yourself, you know.
It doesn't hurt to have that. It doesn't hurt to keep that, but like it's a little bit too much, honestly.
Right. Well,
It's a little bit too
yeah.
much.
I mean, like to you know, in the mom, they kind of, the mom and everybody else in the movie, they kind of keep that as that is a core belief. But even still, you can kind of see it that like Nick doesn't.
Slowly.
Nick doesn't really. I think it's Nick believes that, but when he got exposed to the American culture and he got to see what it's like to be quote unquote selfish to your happiness, then he kind of like started to see that it's okay to not be that way. Obviously, they don't provide a lot of backstory information as to why he, you know, to what happened to make him believe that. But you can tell.
He didn't grow up in Singapore. He studied outside of it.
You can tell that it's kind of like in between the lines. You can tell that his character went through something to change him. And we got Astrid.
Oh, Astrid.
Astrid was it's a sad but realization character.
It's really, honestly, how they portray Astrid in the movie compared to the book. The book is really different. The book, you get to see a lot more of what Astrid and her husband is going through, Michael, or what they go through. Like, she, you know how in the beginning how Astrid gets introduced and she goes to the jewelry stores and she bought jewelry. She bought that earring. Like in the book, she actually went and then she found out that her husband has been purchasing jewelry charms. And she's like, I never got a charm bracelet, you know? And so that's where it all started, where she starts to realize what her husband is doing. And like they didn't really do that in the movie, but like she did get a text. She did see her husband's text message, and she does realize that her husband was having an affair.
I think they just kind of took a look at that as, you know, we're just going, because they're not the main characters, then we're just going to take the biggest moment, the realization moment, and use that as the totality of it.
In the movie, they did make it where the husband had an affair, right?
Yeah, but
Spoiler
spoiler alert to anybody who has not read the book part 2. If you don't want, then just skip over this part. But if not, spoiler alert is
he does what?
in the movie and in the first book, he does have an affair.
No, he doesn't have an affair. In the movie, he has an affair.
No, it looks that way. But in reality, according to the story, he fakes it because he wants Astrid to realize that she as well needs to think more about them rather than the image of the young family, right? And of being the wealthy person. And he kind of points that out when she brings it up. They're going to the wedding in the movie, and when they're going, and she's like, she brings up that he's been having an affair, and she's like, you know,
we'll talk about it after the wedding.
Don't worry about it. Put a smile on your face. We'll talk about it after the wedding. And he gets upset, and he's like, and that's kind of like a hint, foreshadow, hint about that. Oh, you know, is the affair really real, or he's just using it to bait her, to make her realize something. And he kind of says it straightforward to her, like, even when it's something like this, you're not worried. You still care about your image more than what's happening between us. And I obviously that's not the exact lines he says, but that's kind of like what it's about. And he gets out of the car, right? He leaves, gets out of the car. She has to show up to the wedding alone. Which is a little weird that, like, nobody questions. Like...
Because in the book...
leading up to this, when Nick was talking about it, Astrid is the most beautiful woman in Singapore. And she's like this huge celebrity.
In the book, it's, like, so different. Like
that turns heads.
I know, like, in the book, it's so different. Like, when she went to the wedding and she didn't, like, dress up, like, you know how everybody is trying to, like, dress up, like, the best outfit they can get, and how they were talking about how, like, the wedding, the bride, her dress was, like, extremely expensive. But all the bride cared about during that moment was, like, why didn't Astrid put on a new dress? She wore something like she wore last season. And, like, you could tell in the movie, they just didn't care.
Right.
That was just, like, really pushed to the side.
Yeah.
They just didn't really care. Because in the book, like, oh my god, like, the moment Astrid walks in the room, head turns. What is she wearing? What jewelry does she have on? You know, where's her husband? You know, and she's always making the excuse of, oh, Michael has a business and he had to fly out to Hong Kong. Yeah. He had to fly out to Shanghai. And, like, she was always making all these things up. And, you know, eventually she didn't really want to reveal out that her husband was having an affair. And then in the book, spoiler, he doesn't. It's the book 1.
Book 1. But this one.
No, book 2.
Book 2 goes in detail.
No. Like, she finds out that... so stupid. She finds out that Michael is just really fed up with her family. Because in the beginning of the book, in book 1, when they go into the family dinner, Michael doesn't get to enjoy a family dinner. Like, he doesn't. He's sitting there in the corner trying to fix some cousin's laptop. Because he does, like, you know, electrical stuff like that. And he built up his own company and stuff like that. And, like, he tells Astrid, like, do you know that, like, I did something and I got a bonus check. And it was, like, $25,000. But it's not even worth it. It doesn't mean anything. Because you bought a dress that is more than that check I got. You know? So, basically, he puts himself, like, that, like, he cannot measure it up to Astrid. But, like, when you really look at it, like, the whole point he didn't see is that she chose him over a guy who gave her, like, a 13-karat diamond necklace. Where she can go turn it into an engagement ring, whatever design she wants. And that was thrown into the snow. And, like, she picked her husband.
Isn't that a spoiler?
She picked her husband over all that. And she's trying, like, and then when he wants a divorce, she's, like, begging him, like, no. She loves him. And that's how, like, you see that, like, it's, like, to me, differently, of, like, wow, like, she didn't care about her wealth. Like, she was insanely in love with her husband. She was happy living in their small apartment, you know, with the amount of money he gets. And she doesn't brag that she's the breadwinner in the family. She doesn't do any of that. And he didn't see it. And he just kept letting the wealth bother him.
Yeah, I think the contradictory thing that they did in the movie that makes it where I'm pretty sure a lot of women who came out of that movie and looked at the Astrid character, they're like, you know, you go, girl. You don't need a man like that. But I think they missed the point of making the relationship like that in the movie as compared to the book, because the whole point of Astrid and her husband was the flip side of what Rachel and Nick are. Rachel and Nick love each other to the point where they are willing to love each other for each other, and they want to be there for each other. They stand up for each other. But Astrid and her husband, they love each other, they want to be there for each other, but they don't really stand up for each other. You know? Like, Astrid, in no point in the movie does Astrid, like, stand up for the husband, and at no point in the movie does the husband stand up for Astrid.
Yep.
And both of them are kind of, like, doing their own things, and they just kind of look and say, well, it's the unspoken message that we stand up for each other. Because I support you in what you do, and you support me in what I do. But what both of them are really looking for is for them to defend each other. When someone comes knocking on the door saying, hey, blah, blah, blah. And he's kind of like, hey, stay away from my wife. You know? And she's kind of like, hey, my husband's a smart man too. Just because he don't have as much money doesn't mean he's not as capable. And I think that that's what those two characters were looking for in the story, obviously by the book, but in the movie, they just kind of make it look where husband's fed up, cheats on the wife so he can get away. Wife doesn't beg for him back. Wife is like, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm my own woman, gone. And so I kind of feel like they kind of missed the ball on that because it kind of changes the message behind that couple in comparison to the main couple, which is Rachel and Nick. But you know, but it was like a sad couple, you know, the way they turned out. Yeah. So what are your final like thoughts and
Same thing.
rating?
Similar. I give it a 4 out of 5 too. Typical Asian girl to be going through stuff like that. Sometimes it could be flip flop, like that's what like they have like Astrid and her husband's side of the story, you know.
Right.
Sometimes it's the girl, and it's the girl who comes from a bigger family, a richer, well-known family, and the guy has to go through that. And sometimes it's vice versa, where it's like what Rachel and Nick is going through. So, I understand the book was more of like Rachel and Nick, so they focus more on that. But you know, in the book, I really like how they kind of like portray a little bit of like the girl, which is Astrid, going through it. So you know, it gave its really good information passed along of the Asian culture. Like this is why, like, you know, back then people always question like Asian culture. What do you guys like? Why do you guys do this? Why is it so hard? You know. Well, here's your guys' answer. This is it.
Yeah.
Both male and female's thoughts of what we go through. So, you know, I think it's I really like it that, you know, finally did a movie out of it. And, you know, a lot of people get to see what it is like.
Right.
Asian in general, what we're like.
Well, I'm glad that Hollywood finally invested.
I know.
I mean, it's about time. Yeah. But, yeah.
That's about it.
That's a wrap.
Alright.
Alright.
Well, we'll see you guys in the next video.
See you in the next video. This is Ajishi.
Agashi here. Bye-bye.
We are out.